My name is Anne Shirley. I was 11 years old when my life changed forever. I lived in many houses before that. I was an orphan. I had no parents, no brothers, and no sisters. I lived with strangers, and sometimes they were kind, but sometimes they were not. I worked hard in their homes, cleaning and taking care of children. I wanted to belong somewhere. I wanted someone to love me. One day, I was told I would go to a new home. The people who wanted me lived on Prince Edward Island. Their house was called Green Gables. It sounded like a dream to me. I thought maybe, this time, I would have a real family. When I arrived at the train station, I waited and waited. The sun was going down, and I felt scared. I held my small bag close to me. Then I saw a tall, quiet man walking toward me. He looked shy but kind. He said his name was Matthew Cuthbert. I smiled and said, "I'm Anne. Are you here for me?" He nodded slowly and said, "Yes, I came to pick up the boy." I stopped smiling. "The boy," I said, "but I'm not a boy." He looked surprised. "There must be a mistake," he said. I felt my heart drop. "Oh, please don't send me back," I said softly. "I can be very useful. I can help you in the house. I can learn anything." Matthew looked at me, and I could see he felt sorry for me. He said gently, "Well, let's go home first. My sister Marilla will know what to do." The ride from the station to Green Gables was the most beautiful ride of my life. The trees were green and full. The air smelled like flowers and fresh grass. The road went through fields and farms, and the sky was a soft pink as the sun went down. I talked all the way. I told Matthew about the names I gave to trees and rivers. I told him about my dreams and how I loved stories. He did not say much, but I could see he liked listening. When we reached Green Gables, I saw a big white house with green roofs. Flowers grew near the gate. I thought it looked like a picture from a storybook. Marilla was standing by the door. She was tall, with a serious face and sharp eyes. She looked at me, then at Matthew, and said, "Where is the boy?" Matthew said quietly, "There was no boy, only this girl." Marilla's eyebrows went up. "A girl? We asked for a boy?" I felt small and scared again. I looked at her and said, "Please, please don't send me back. I can work hard. I can do anything you want. Just let me stay." Marilla looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "We'll see about this in the morning. Come inside." That night, I could not sleep. The bed was soft and the room was beautiful, but my heart hurt. I thought Marilla would send me back the next day. I looked out of the window and saw the stars. I whispered, "Please let me stay at Green Gables. Please." In the morning, Marilla took me to Mrs. Spencer, the woman who brought me from the orphanage. Marilla said, "There's been a mistake. We wanted a boy." Mrs. Spencer said, "Oh yes, I remember. I thought this girl would be fine too. She looked sweet." Marilla sighed. "Well, "She can't do farm work," she said. I stood very still and tried not to cry. Then Mrs. Spencer said, "If you don't want her, Mrs. Nia, Blewett needs a girl to help her with the house." I looked at her and felt cold inside. I had seen Mrs. Blewett. She had a hard face and loud voice. I could tell she would not be kind. I could not stop my tears. "Please don't send me there," I said. "I can be good. I can work hard. Just give me a chance." Marilla looked at me again. Her face did not change, but her eyes looked softer. "We'll go home," she said. My heart started to beat fast. When we reached Green Gables again, she told Matthew, "We'll keep her. It's too much trouble to send her away now." Matthew smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." I could not believe it. I was staying. From that day, I tried my best to help. I washed dishes, cleaned the rooms, and helped in the garden. I wanted Marilla to see I was useful. I also went to school in the village. The other children looked at me strangely at first because of my red hair and many freckles. I heard one boy, Gilbert Blythe, laugh and say, "Carrots!" I was so angry I hit him on the head with my slate. Everyone laughed, and I cried. I decided I would never speak to him again. Even though school was sometimes hard, I liked learning. I wanted to be smart and make Marilla proud. I loved reading stories and writing about the trees, the river, and the sunsets at Green Gables. I had a best friend too. Her name was Diana Barry. She lived at a big house called Orchard Slope. She had black hair and kind eyes. From the first time we met, I knew she was my bosom friend. We talked for hours, shared secrets, and laughed about everything. One day, Marilla went away to visit a friend, and I invited Diana to tea. I wanted everything to be perfect. I took out what I thought was raspberry cordial from the cupboard. We drank and laughed. But soon Diana's face turned red, and she said she felt sick. She ran home. Later that evening, her mother came to Green Gables angry. She said, "Anne made my child drunk. That was wine, not cordial." I was shocked. I had made a mistake. I cried all night. Mrs. Barry said Diana could never play with me again. I felt my heart break. I stayed alone and missed Diana so much. I wrote her letters, but she did not answer. I told Marilla I wanted to leave Green Gables. Marilla said, "No, you made a mistake, but you will stay and learn from it." I didn't want to eat or talk. The days felt long and empty without my friend. Then, one day, Diana came running to our door. Her little sister Minnie May was very sick, and her parents were not home. She was crying. "Anne, please help me," she said. I had learned a little about caring for sick people from Marilla's friend, Mrs. Allen. I ran with Diana to her house. Minnie May was pale and breathing fast. I stayed calm and helped her drink water slowly. I stayed all night, watching her until the doctor came. He said I had saved her life. The next day, Mrs. Barry came to Green Gables. She held my hands and said, "Anne, I am sorry." I was wrong about you. You are a brave, good girl. You can be Diana's friend again." I felt so happy I almost cried. I hugged Diana and said, "Now we will be friends forever." Green Gables began to feel like home to me. Marilla still looked serious, but sometimes I saw a small smile on her face. Matthew often brought me small gifts, like new ribbons for my hair. I knew he loved me, even if he didn't say it. I loved them both more than words could say. I was not just an orphan anymore. I was Anne of Green Gables. Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. Time passed quickly at Green Gables. I grew taller and older. I was now 13. I helped Marilla more, and she began to trust me with many things. I cooked breakfast, washed clothes, and looked after the garden. I also still went to school, and I wanted to be the best student there. Every morning I walked to school with Diana. The air was cool and fresh, and the road was lined with trees. We talked about everything, books, dreams, and plans for the future. Diana wanted to stay home after school and help her mother. I wanted to study more and become a teacher one day. I wanted to do something special with my life, but school was not always easy. Gilbert Blythe was still there, sitting in the front row with his bright smile. I still remembered the day he called me Carrots, and I still refused to speak to him. Everyone knew that Anne Shirley and Gilbert Blythe were enemies. But deep down, I knew he was a good student. He was clever, kind, and always helped others. Sometimes I saw him looking at me with a soft smile, but I looked away quickly. One day, the teacher said there would be a big exam. The best student would win a scholarship to study in the city at Queen's Academy. I wanted that prize more than anything. I studied late every night. Marilla told me to sleep, but I said, "Just one more page." Matthew smiled and said, "Let her dream." When the exam day came, I felt nervous. The room was quiet. Everyone wrote carefully. Gilbert sat near me, and I could hear his pencil moving fast. I told myself, I can do this. When the results came weeks later, I held my breath. I had won the scholarship. Gilbert was second. I could not believe it. I was so happy that I cried. Marilla smiled proudly, and Matthew said softly, "I knew you could." Soon it was time to go to Queen's Academy. I was 16 now. I packed my small bag and looked around my room at Green Gables. I touched the curtains and the books on my shelf. I whispered, "Goodbye, dear room. I'll be back soon." Life in the city was different. There were many students and tall buildings. I missed the quiet of Avonlea, the smell of the fields, and Marilla's voice calling me to dinner. But I studied hard. I met new friends and even saw Gilbert there too. He smiled at me once in the library, but I still didn't talk to him. Sometimes I wanted to, but my pride stopped me. At Queen's, I learned many new things. I learned literature, history, and teaching. I also learned how much I loved learning itself. When the final exams came, I worked harder than ever. A week later, the results were posted on the big notice board. I stood there shaking. My name was first. I had won the Avery Scholarship. It meant I could go to college if I wanted. That evening, I wrote a long letter to Marilla. I told her everything. I wrote, "Dear Marilla, I did it. I am first. I could not have done it without you and Matthew. I will come home soon." When I returned to Green Gables, I saw Marilla standing by the gate. She looked tired but happy. Matthew stood beside her. His hair was more gray now. I ran to them, and Matthew said, "My girl is home." It was the sweetest thing I had ever heard. But not long after that, something sad happened. One evening, Matthew went to the post office and came back with letters in his pocket. He looked pale. Marilla told him to sit down, but before she finished speaking, he fell to the floor. I ran to him and shouted, "Matthew!" But he did not answer. His heart had stopped. I could not stop crying. My hands shook and my chest hurt. I said again and again, "Oh, my dear Matthew, please don't leave me." But he was gone. Marilla sat in silence, tears falling down her face. Green Gables felt empty without him. For days I walked through the house quietly. I looked at his hat, his chair, his boots near the door. Everything reminded me of him. I missed his gentle smile and kind words. But I told myself, Matthew would want me to be strong. After some time, Marilla told me something that broke my heart again. "Anne," she said softly, "I am losing my sight. My eyes are getting worse. I may not be able to see soon." I took her hands and said, "Then I will take care of you. You took care of me. Now it's my turn." I decided not to go to college. I would stay at Green Gables with Marilla. I wrote to Queens and told them I was giving up my place. It was hard, but I knew it was right. I found a teaching job at the school in Avonlea. The salary was small, but I could live at home and help Marilla. On my first day as a teacher, I felt both proud and nervous. I stood in front of the class, and the children looked at me with wide eyes. I remembered how I used to sit in that same room, full of dreams and mistakes. Now I was the one teaching. I told them, "You can be anything you want if you work hard and stay kind." Diana still came to visit me every week. We drank tea and talked by the window, just like old times. She was soon engaged to a kind man named Fred Wright. I was happy for her, but I also felt a small ache inside. My life was different, quieter, but still full of love. One evening, as I walked home from school, I saw Gilbert waiting near the gate. He looked older and calmer. He said, "Hello, Anne." I stopped and looked at him for a moment. It was the first time I had spoken to him in years. I said quietly, "Hello, Gilbert." He smiled and said, "I heard you are teaching here now. I wanted to tell you. I gave up my school place in Avonlea so you could have it. I'll be teaching at White Sands instead." I was surprised. "You gave it up for me?" I asked. He nodded. "Yes. I thought you might want to stay close to Marilla." For a long moment we stood there in silence. I felt my heart change. The old anger I had carried for years started to melt away. I said softly, "Thank you, Gilbert. That was very kind." He smiled again and said, "I always wanted to be friends, Anne." That night, as I sat by the window, I looked at the stars above Green Gables. The air was still and the fields were quiet. I thought about Matthew, Marilla, Diana, and even Gilbert. I realized how much love there was in my life, even after all the pain. I whispered to myself, maybe happiness is not about having everything. Maybe it is about being where you are loved. Green Gables was my home, and I was no longer the lonely orphan who came by mistake. I was Anne Shirley, teacher, dreamer, and girl of Green Gables. Summer came again to Green Gables. The fields were full of flowers, and the air smelled sweet and warm. I walked every morning to the small school where I taught. The children ran to me, smiling, and shouted, "Good morning, Miss Shirley!" Their happy faces made me smile back. Teaching was not easy, but I loved it. Each child was different, and I wanted them all to believe in themselves. I often told them, "If you make a mistake, do not worry. Just try again." At home, Marilla's eyes grew weaker. She could not see small things anymore, so I helped her with everything. I read letters to her, cooked meals, and took care of the house. Sometimes I felt tired, but I never complained. I wanted her to rest and feel safe. She often said, "Anne, I do not know what I would do without you." I would answer, "You will never have to find out." Diana got married in the fall. The wedding was small but beautiful. She looked like a princess in her white dress. When I hugged her, I whispered, "I will miss you every day." She smiled and said, "You will come to visit, won't you?" I nodded, but my heart felt heavy. I was happy for her, but a little sad for myself. I went home that night and sat by the window. The moon was bright, and the house was quiet. I thought about how much had changed since I first came to Green Gables. I was not a child anymore. A few weeks later, Gilbert came to visit. I saw him walking up the path with a book in his hand. Marilla said softly, "He's a fine young man, that one." When I opened the door, he smiled and said, "Good afternoon, Anne. I hope I'm not disturbing you." I told him he never did. We sat outside under the big tree near the garden. The wind moved through the leaves, and the sky was clear blue. Gilbert told me about his school at White Sands. He said the students were clever but sometimes lazy. We laughed about it. Then he said, "Anne, I was sorry about Matthew. He was a good man." I looked down and said, "Yes, he was. I still miss him every day." Gilbert's eyes were kind. He said, "He was proud of you. You know that, don't you?" I nodded. We sat quietly for a moment, and then he said, "I'm glad we're friends again. I smiled. So am I. After that day, Gilbert often visited. Sometimes he brought books, and we talked about stories and poems. Sometimes we walked along the river or through the fields. We talked about dreams, about the future, and about life. I noticed I was happy when he was near. His voice was calm, and his eyes were warm. The world felt lighter when he was around. One evening, we walked home from school together. The sun was setting, and the sky was pink and gold. Gilbert said quietly, "Anne, I want to tell you something." My heart began to beat faster. He looked at me and said, "You have always been important to me, since the first day I met you." I laughed softly and said, "Since the day you called me carrots?" He smiled. "Even then," he said, "I was foolish, but I never stopped caring." I didn't know what to say. For a moment we both stood there in silence. The wind moved through the trees, and the sound of the river was soft and low. I looked at him and said, "You are very dear to me too, Gilbert." His eyes shone. "Then maybe one day," he started to say, but I stopped him. "Not yet," I said gently. "I need time to think. But thank you." He smiled and said, "I can wait." And I believed he could. That night, I sat outside on the steps. The stars were bright, and the air was cool. I thought about everything that had happened in my life. I thought about the lonely girl who once came to Green Gables by mistake. I thought about Marilla and Matthew, about Diana, and about Gilbert. My heart was full of memories. Marilla came to sit beside me. "You're quiet tonight," she said. I smiled and said, "Just thinking, Marilla, about how lucky I am." She touched my hand and said, "You made your own luck, Anne. You worked hard, and you loved well." I looked at the dark fields and said softly, "I used to dream about big things, about cities and adventures. But now, I see the best adventure was here all along." Marilla smiled. "Home often is." The next morning I woke early. The sun was shining, and the birds were singing. I stood by the window and looked out at the trees, the fields, and the river. Everything looked golden. I whispered, "Good morning, Green Gables." Later that day, I walked to school again. The road was the same, but I was different. I was no longer the little girl who dreamed of being loved. I had found love in friends, in family, and in this beautiful place. I had learned that even when life is sad, there is always hope. As I reached the school gate, I saw Gilbert waiting there, holding a small bunch of flowers. He smiled and said, "For the best teacher in Avonlea." I laughed, took the flowers, and said, "Thank you, Gilbert." He looked at me and said quietly, "And for the girl who changed everything." I felt my heart grow warm. I looked back at Green Gables, standing tall and peaceful in the distance. The sun touched its roof, and it shone like something alive. I whispered, "Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Marilla. Thank you for giving me a home." The wind moved gently through the fields. I walked toward the school, smiling. My life had not been easy, but it had been full of love, full of lessons, and full of beauty. I knew that wherever I went next, Green Gables would always be with me. Because it was not just a place. It was where I became who I was meant to be. I was Anne Shirley, dreamer, teacher, and girl of Green Gables. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English. My name is Zaria. I am 34 years old. I have a husband named Corin. He is 38 years old. We have been married for 12 years. We have one daughter. Her name is Lena. She is 10 years old. Every day in our home feels the same. Corin wakes up early. He leaves the house fast. He does not sit with us in the morning. He drinks a quick cup of coffee, takes his bag and walks out the door. He comes home very late at night. He eats little food. He sleeps very little. His life is only work now. I sit with my daughter in the evening. We eat dinner together. We talk about school. We talk about her day. But inside the house, there is always one empty chair. There is always one silent place at the table. My daughter looks at that chair again and again. One night, she looks at me and asks, "Mom, where is Dad?" I smile, but my smile feels weak. I say, "He is at work." She looks down. She moves her spoon slowly. Then she whispers, "Dad is never here." These words hit my heart. They stay in my mind. I hear them again in my head even after she goes to bed. Dad is never here. I try to explain and say, "Your father is working for us. He wants a good life for the family." But she does not smile. She does not look happy. She only says, "I don't want money. I want Dad." I have no answer. I cannot lie to her. I know she is right. Every night I stand near the window. I wait to hear the sound of the door. Some nights I call him and say, "Please come home early. We miss you." But he always gives the same answer. "I can't. I have work. I have meetings. I have deadlines. I am doing this for us." But now I ask myself something I never asked before. Is he really doing this for us, or is he running from us? I remember our early years. We ate dinner together. We talked for a long time. We held hands when we walked. We dreamed about our future. We planned trips. We laughed often. The house was warm and happy. Now we live in the same house, but it feels like we are far from each other. We live together, but we do not feel together. Sometimes I look at him and I feel like I am looking at a stranger. I look at my daughter and feel fear. Lena is growing fast. She plays, she reads books, she draws pictures, and she waits for her father. She waits every day. One day she will stop waiting. One day she may stop calling for him. One day she may close her heart. And maybe he will not even see it happen. This thought scares me more than anything. One night I hold my phone in my hand. I want to call him again, but I stop. I know he will say the same words. I am busy. My chest feels tight. My eyes close. If nothing changes, we will lose our family. Not fast, but slowly, step by step. Then I hear the door open. Corin is home. His bag drops on the floor. His steps are slow. I look at him. His face looks tired. His shoulders look weak. He looks like someone carrying a heavy load. But he does not look at me. He walks to the couch, sits down, and opens his laptop at once. I stand near him and watch him work even when he is at home. My heart tells me to speak. If I stay quiet, nothing will ever change. I take a deep breath. I say, Corin, please stop working for one night. Please look at your daughter. She needs you. He does not look up. He only says, I am doing this for her, for you, for us. My hands feel cold. My voice shakes. I say, no. You think you are doing this for us, but you are losing us. He stops typing. He looks up at me with tired eyes. He looks confused. He says, how can you say that? I work all day for our family. I work so we can have a good life. I feel pain in my chest. I say, you are here in the house, but your heart is not here. Lena says you are never home. Do you know how much that hurts her? He stays quiet for a long moment. Then he says, she is a child. She will understand one day. She will thank me when she is grown. I feel anger rise inside me. I say, one day? What about today? She needs you now, not one day. She needs her father today. He closes his laptop slowly. He looks down at his hands. I can see he does not want to talk about this, but I cannot stop. I must speak for my daughter and for our family. At that moment, our daughter comes out of her room. She holds a small book in her hands. She walks to her father with soft steps. She says, Dad, can you read with me? Corin does not even lift his head. He says, not now, Lena. I am tired. Her face changes at once. Her small smile disappears. Her eyes become sad. She whispers, you are always tired. Then she turns and walks back to her room. My heart breaks as I watch her walk away. I look at my husband. Tears fill my eyes, but I try to stay calm. I say, did you hear her? She does not ask for toys or money. She asks only for you. He rubs his forehead. He says, I will read with her tomorrow. I say, what if tomorrow is too late? He does not answer. He looks down at his laptop again, but this time he does not open it. I walk to the kitchen to wash the dishes and try to breathe. I feel tired in my heart. I feel alone, even though I am not alone. The next morning, I make breakfast. Lena sits at the table. She does not eat. She pushes her food around her plate. She looks up at me and says, "Dad is gone again." I try to smile for her. I say, "He will come home later." She shakes her head. She says, "Later is always too late." Her words cut deep. They stay inside me like a sharp stone. That evening, Corin comes home again. He looks more tired than yesterday. He drops his bag. He walks past us. He opens his laptop again. I feel something inside me begin to break. I know we cannot continue like this, but I also know the moment to speak must be right. I look at my daughter across the table. Her small face looks sad. Her hands hold her book again, but she does not walk to him this time. She does not ask him again. She stays in her seat and looks down. Something is changing inside her, and I can see it. And this is the moment I fear the most. Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. The next evening, I try to make the house warm. I cook dinner. I help Lena with homework. I put soft music in the living room. I want the home to feel calm when Corin arrives. I want him to see what he is missing. Lena sits at the table with her book. She keeps looking at the door, waiting for the sound of her father's steps. She waits with hope. Even after so many sad nights, it hurts me to see her like this. A child should not wait for love. Love should come to her. The clock moves. The sky gets darker. Corin is still not home. I watch my daughter. She looks at the door again and again. I can see her hope getting smaller. I can see her heart getting tired. I sit beside her and touch her hand. I say, "He will come soon." But inside, I do not know if it is true. When the door finally opens, it is late. Too late. He walks in with tired steps. His face looks sad, but also closed, like a door that no one can open. He drops his bag on the floor. He does not look at us. He just walks to the couch and opens his laptop again. I watch my daughter. She does not run to him. She does not ask him anything. She only looks down at her book. This is the part that scares me. The quiet, the slow change, the moment when a child stops trying. I take a deep breath and speak again. "Corin, please sit with us. Please eat with us. We miss you." He keeps typing. He says, "I cannot. I have a client waiting." His voice is flat. His eyes do not look at me. Lena stands up. Her small voice is soft but strong. She says, "Then I don't want to wait for you anymore." She walks to her room and closes the door hard. The sound feels like the whole house is breaking. Corin looks at me. His face shows surprise. But soon it becomes anger. He says, "She does not understand." I am doing everything for her. I feel my own anger rise. I say, no. You do not understand her heart. She is a child. She needs her father, not your job. His voice grows louder. Do you want me to lose my job? Do you want us to lose the house, the bills, the future? I am trying to protect our life. I look at him with pain. I want our daughter to have a father. I want her to feel loved, not empty. He says nothing now. He only looks away. Later that night, when the house is quiet, I walk to the kitchen for water. I see a small paper on the table. It is folded carefully. I open it. It is a note from Lena. It says, Dad, you are always busy. Maybe you do not love me. My chest feels tight. My hands shake. My eyes become wet. No child should feel this way. No child should write such words. I hold the note to my chest and cry. I walk to the living room and show the note to my husband. Read this. Read what your daughter thinks. He takes the note. His hands shake too. He reads it slowly. I can see fear in his eyes, a fear I have not seen before, a fear of losing something important. But then he does something that breaks my trust even more. Instead of going to her room, instead of holding her, instead of saying he loves her, he puts the note in his pocket. He says, she will understand one day. I step back. I cannot believe it. I feel something inside me fall apart. I say, no, she will not understand. She will remember. She will remember every empty chair. She will remember every night you did not come. She will remember that her father chose work over her. He stands up. He walks outside. The door closes behind him. The sound feels cold. I stand alone in the kitchen. My hands shake. My heart feels heavy. I wonder how we came to this point. I wonder how a man who once loved his family so deeply could become so far away. A small sound comes from the hallway. It is Lena. She opens her door and looks at me with scared eyes. She asks, Mom, is Dad leaving us? I hold her close. I say, no. He is not leaving us. He is just lost. He cannot see our hearts right now, but maybe he will one day. She rests her head on my shoulder. I can feel her small body shaking. She does not cry loud. She cries in a quiet way, a deep way. The kind of cry that comes from hurt, not noise. When she goes back to her room, I sit alone in the living room. The house is dark and still. I feel tired in a way I cannot explain. Tired in my bones. Tired in my heart. But I also know something important. I cannot give up. I cannot stop speaking. I must protect my daughter's heart, even if he will not. The next evening, I make dinner again. I cook simple food because Lena likes it. She sits at the table with her book. She waits again. Even after so many sad nights, she still holds a little hope. Children are like that. Their hearts stay open longer than ours. The door opens. Corin walks in. He looks tired as always. He sits down and opens his laptop. He does not even see the food on the table. He does not see us waiting. My heart feels heavy, but I speak. Corin, close it. Please, just one dinner with your family. He sighs. He says, I have no time. Something inside me finally breaks. I stand up. My voice rises in a way I did not plan. I say, you always say that. No time for us. No time for her. No time for me. Only work. Lena looks scared. She holds her book close to her chest. Her eyes move between us. She does not want us to fight. She loves both of us. She is only a child. But I cannot stop. Not now. I say, our daughter feels invisible. She feels forgotten. She feels alone in her own home. Corin shouts back, I am doing everything for her. I shake my head. I say, no. You are doing everything for yourself. You think money will save us. But what she needs cannot be bought. She needs love. She needs you. The room becomes silent. Only the sound of our breathing fills the air. Lena hugs her book and looks at the floor. I can see tears in her eyes, but she tries to hide them. Corin sits still. His hands shake a little. His face looks lost. Something inside him is beginning to move. But he still cannot say the words we need to hear. And I know the hardest moment is still coming. The moment that will change our home. The moment that will open his eyes or break everything. The room stays quiet for a long time. Corin sits on the chair. His laptop is open in front of him, but he is not typing now. His hands rest on the keyboard, yet he does not move. He looks like a man who suddenly cannot find his way. I watch him. I see something change in his eyes, but I cannot tell what it is. Pain. Maybe. Fear. Maybe. Or the beginning of understanding. Lena wipes her tears and walks to her room. She closes the door slowly this time, not loud like before. This soft sound feels even worse. It feels like she has no more strength to fight. Children do not always shout when they hurt. Sometimes they grow quiet. That is the part adults often do not see. I sit down at the table. I feel tired. I feel empty. I do not speak. I wait. I hope he will say something, anything. But Corin stays silent. His shoulders drop. His face looks lost. He looks older than he did 1 month ago. After some minutes, he finally stands up and walks to the hallway. He stops near Lena's door. He lifts his hand, but he does not knock. He lets his hand fall again. He walks away and goes to the bedroom instead. The door closes behind him. That night I cannot sleep. I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling. I listen to the quiet house. I listen to my daughter's soft breathing through the wall. I think about our life. I think about the man I married. I think about the family we almost lost without even seeing the danger. In the morning, I wake up early. The house feels cold. I make breakfast. I hear Lena walking into the kitchen. She looks tired too. She sits at the table without a word. She touches her food but does not eat. She asks, "Is Dad gone again?" I nod. I try to keep my voice calm. Yes. He left early. She looks at the empty chair again. Then she looks away. Her small heart is tired of waiting. When Corin comes home that evening, I expect him to go to the couch with his laptop again. I expect him to ignore the table, the food, the family. But something is different. He drops his bag slowly this time. He looks around the room. He looks at me. He looks at Lena. His eyes are red, as if he did not sleep well. He sits down in a chair, but he does not open his laptop. He just sits. He is quiet. He looks like a man who is fighting something inside himself. After a long moment, he says, "Where is Lena?" I point to her room. He stands up and walks slowly to her door. I watch him. I hold my breath. He lifts his hand again. This time he knocks. "Lena," he says softly, "can I come in?" There is no answer at first. Then a small voice says, "Yes." He opens the door. I stay in the kitchen and wait. My heart beats fast. I want to hear what he says, but I stay back. This moment belongs to them. For a long time, the house is quiet. Then I hear soft voices. Then I hear crying. Not loud crying. Not angry crying. Just soft, real crying. I close my eyes. Something is breaking open inside him. Something is waking up. I feel my own tears fall. After some minutes, they come out together. Lena walks beside him. Her eyes are wet, but she looks lighter. She holds his hand. She has not held his hand in a long time. Corin sits with her on the couch. He looks at both of us. His voice is slow. His voice is shaking. He says, "I am sorry." He covers his face with his hands. "I thought I was helping. I thought if I worked hard, you two would be happy. I thought money meant security. I thought long hours meant love. But I see now. I was blind." Lena sits close to him. She touches his arm carefully. She says, "Dad, I just want you." He looks at her. His eyes are full of tears. "I know," he says. "I am sorry, Lena. I am so sorry." I walk closer. I sit with them. I say, "We do not want a perfect life. We want a real family. We want you with us." He nods many times. He wipes his eyes. "I will change. I promise. I do not want to lose you. I do not want to lose my family. We sit together for the first time in many months. No laptop, no phone, no work talk. Just us, the three of us. A small family trying to find a way back to each other. Later that night, after Lena sleeps, I sit with him at the dining table. I make tea. He holds the cup in his hands. He looks tired, but this tired is different. This tired is honest. He says, I understand now. Time does not come back. Money can come back. Work can come back. But lost time never returns. I nod. I feel relief, but also fear. Change is not easy. Work will still call him. Stress will still chase him. Old habits will still try to pull him away. But now he sees the truth. That gives me hope. The next morning I wake up and hear movement in the kitchen. I think it is Lena, but when I walk out, I see Corin. He is making breakfast. He turns and smiles at me. A real smile. Not a tired one. Not a fake one. He says, Today I will walk Lena to school. Lena sits at the table and looks surprised. Her eyes open wide. Really, Dad? He nods. Yes, because family is my first job. She runs to him and hugs him. He hugs her back with both arms. This is the first time in a long time that I see real warmth between them. I watch them leave the house together. They walk slowly. They talk. They laugh. The morning sun falls on them. My heart feels warm. My eyes feel wet. Maybe we almost lost everything. Maybe we came close to breaking. But now we have a new chance. A real chance. Work can return. Money can return. But time with the people we love never returns. Time is a gift. Time is the one thing we cannot buy back. I sit near the window and breathe. I think about our life. I think about last night. I think about the small note that broke everything open. I think about our daughter's heart and how close it was to closing. I whisper to myself, we were lucky this time. And I know the truth. Families do not fall apart in one day. They fall apart slowly, silently, when people stop seeing each other, when people stop listening, when work takes more space than love. But families can also come back, one choice at a time, one small moment, one long look, one real hug, one father who finally understands. Today our home feels different. It feels lighter. It feels warm again. It feels like a place where we can start over. And this time, we will not waste the time we have. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English.